The girl who couldn't walk. The sun was red on planet Velmoris. Twin moons floated above, casting soft shadows on the ground. The wind blew gently, but it could not move the heavy metal wheels of Larina's chair. She sat near the old repair hangar, watching ships land and take off. Soldiers marched, engineers shouted, and alien children laughed and played. But she did none of that. She had not stood in over 10 years. Larina was once the daughter of a great general. People respected her family. But after the accident, everything changed. A falling drone crashed during a battle and broke her spine. She was only 7. The medics saved her life, but they could not save her legs. Since then, she lived in silence. Her father stopped visiting. Her friends stopped coming. People didn't say it out loud, but they thought she was useless. She knew it, and it hurt more than the pain in her back. Every day she rolled herself to the edge of the hangar. She loved machines. She watched them like others watched stars. She memorized ship parts, fuel types, and flight models. But no one noticed, until one day he arrived. A strange figure stepped out of a broken cargo ship. He was tall, wearing a dusty jacket. His face was tired but kind. A human. Few humans came to Velmoris. They were seen as slow, soft, too emotional. But this one was different. His name was Adam Voss. He was a freelance repairman. The hangar boss told him to fix the broken engines and leave. But Adam didn't rush. He looked around, and then he saw her. Larina froze when their eyes met. Most people looked away quickly, but this human didn't. He walked toward her slowly, wiping his oily hands on a cloth. "You come here often?" he said with a small smile. She blinked. "Every day." Adam sat on a metal box nearby. "You like machines?" "Yes," she said, quietly. "I study them." "Me too," he said. "Though I'm better with junk than books." She looked at his hands, rough and strong. "Are you here to fix the V-class engine?" He raised an eyebrow. "How did you know?" "It leaks. Too much silver vapor, that's a V-class problem." Adam chuckled. "You're good." She felt something she hadn't felt in years. Warmth. For the next few days, Adam returned to the same spot. He brought broken parts and showed them to her. "Ever seen a reactor this damaged?" "What's wrong with this fuel line?" "Can you guess why this doesn't spin?" She answered all his questions, sometimes faster than he could. "You're brilliant," he said. "No," she whispered. "I'm broken." Adam stopped smiling. He leaned forward. "Who told you that?" "My father, my teachers, the doctors. Everyone." Adam's voice became quiet. "They were wrong." She didn't reply. Her fingers tightened on the wheel rim. Later that evening, Adam walked into the supply shed. He looked at metal limbs hanging on the walls. Most were standard alien prosthetics, cold, lifeless, and rejected by Larina long ago. But Adam had an idea. He picked up a few pieces. A servo motor, a flex joint, old wires. He whispered to himself, "She doesn't need standard. She needs something made for her." He took the parts back to his sleeping pod and started sketching. The next morning, Larina waited in her usual spot. Adam came over. But this time he had something in his hands. A small device. Shiny, sleek, and unlike anything on Velmoris. "What's that?" she asked. "A test," he said. "For movement." He attached it to the side of her chair. The small metal fingers moved with the push of a button. Larina's eyes widened. "You built that?" "In one night," Adam grinned. "Imagine what I can do in 1 week." She stared at him. No one had ever done this for her. No one had even tried. He looked at her and said softly, "Would you let me try something? Something big?" She was silent for a moment. Then she nodded. Adam smiled. "Then it's a deal." As he turned to leave, Larina spoke again, her voice trembling. "You're the first person who looked me in the eyes." Adam paused. Then, I guess I'll be the first to help you stand. The human with tools and a heart rain poured on Velmoris the next day. It wasn't common. The dry, rocky world rarely saw water from the sky. But today the ground was soaked. The hangar lights flickered under gray clouds. Lorena sat by the window, watching the raindrops slide down the glass. Her chair didn't move. Her hands were cold. Adam hadn't come. She tried not to care. But the silence felt heavier without him. Was he gone? Like the others? Just when she was about to roll away, the hangar doors creaked open. Adam walked in, dripping wet, holding a strange box wrapped in cloth. "You waited?" he said, water running down his face. "You came back?" she asked. He grinned. "I told you. We have a deal." She stared at the box. "What's inside?" Adam placed it in her lap. "Something I built last night. I couldn't sleep. Your eyes kept haunting me." Lorena touched the cloth. It felt warm from his hands. She unwrapped it slowly. Inside was a metallic piece, shaped like a foot, but not alien, not standard. It had tiny soft pads on the sole, shock absorbers on the sides, and golden lines running through it like nerves. "This," she whispered, "this is not Velmorian tech." Adam sat beside her. "Nope. This is human tech, but mixed with what I've learned from your planet." "Why?" she asked. "Why would you do this for me?" He looked away for a moment, then said, "Back on Earth, my sister couldn't walk either. She died before I could finish building her legs. I failed her, but maybe I don't have to fail again." Lorena looked down, holding the foot in her lap. "You think I can walk?" "I know you can." She was quiet. Then she asked, "Will it hurt?" "Yes," he said honestly. "It'll hurt a lot. But not as much as being ignored for 10 years. Her hands shook, but she nodded. "Then I'll try." For the next few days, Adam worked like a man possessed. He used scrap parts from broken droids, old gliders, and even reactor cores. He soldered metal while eating, slept in corners, sketched on walls. He didn't care what others said. The alien, engineers laughed. "Human junk, it'll explode on her legs." The guards mocked him, trying to impress a cripple human. But Adam never stopped. He only grew more focused. At night, Lorena would come and help him. She couldn't walk, but she used her mind. She corrected his code, fixed faulty logic, suggested better circuit paths. "You're a better engineer than me," he said one night. "No," she replied with a rare smile, "just better at sitting and thinking." One evening, Adam showed her the full design: twin-link leg supports, neural reactive pads, balance gyros, all synced to your brainstem. You won't just walk, you'll run. She stared at the shining limbs, silent. "Still want to do this?" he asked. She nodded. "If I fall, I'll catch you." In a dark room lit only by blue lights, the procedure began. Adam cleaned the connectors on her spine. Lorena closed her eyes. Her heart pounded like thunder. Her hands gripped the Y chair. He pressed the activation button, a spark, a small sound, a hum of power flowing. Then her legs twitched. She screamed softly, more from shock than pain. He looked at her. "Can you feel them?" Her lips trembled. "Yes." The metal legs moved again. She felt pressure, warmth, power. Adam placed both hands on her shoulders. "Try standing." I don't know how." "Yes, you do. You've stood 1,000 times in your dreams. Just do it now, for real." She focused. Her body shook. The chair creaked. Alarms beeped. But slowly, so slowly, she rose. First 2 inches, then 5, then all the way up. She was standing. Her breath caught. Her hands flew to her mouth. Adam smiled, tears forming in his eyes. "You're taller than I imagined." She laughed, a sound no one had heard from her in years. "I'm standing," she whispered. "You're more than that," he said. "You're rising." Just then the hangar door opened. Soldiers saw her standing. One dropped his wrench in shock. General Varric, her father, walked in at that very moment. He froze, eyes wide. Lorena stood tall, on her own. She didn't look at him. She looked at Adam and said, "Let's go further." The first steps of hope. The stars were still out when Lorena woke. She didn't sleep in her chair anymore. For the first time in 10 years, she had slept on a real bed, not because someone lifted her, but because she had walked to it. Her legs, Adam's creation, still felt strange. The soft hum of energy moved with her thoughts. It wasn't natural, but it felt alive. She sat up. Her legs moved with her. She smiled, softly. But walking wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. Outside, Adam was already working in the sand under the half-rising sun. He was setting up a path of stones and poles. When Lorena came outside, she blinked at the strange setup. "What's all this?" she asked, stepping out slowly. "A test," Adam said, "for your new legs." "I already passed the test. I walked." Adam shook his head with a grin. "No, now you learn how to run." The training began. The first pole she walked into and fell, hard. Sand covered her face. Her legs sparked, but Adam didn't panic. He walked over, offered his hand and said, "We get back up." She did. Then she fell again, and again. Sometimes she cried. Once, she screamed, "Maybe this was a mistake." Adam sat beside her, panting. No, it wasn't. It was hope, and hope takes time. Lorena stared at her, shaking hands. Then she stood again. She ran into the pole again, this time with better balance. By the end of the week, she could weave between the poles with speed. The alien engineers started watching from afar. At first, they laughed. Then they watched quietly. The 10th day, they took notes. Did the human rewrite the nerve mapping protocol? How is she sinking without pain inhibitors? News began to spread across the base. The girl in the chair was now walking across sand, jumping over rocks, ducking under wires. People started whispering her name with respect. One afternoon, alarms rang across the outpost. A rogue defense drone had malfunctioned during a training exercise. It had locked onto heat signatures and was targeting soldiers near the hangars. Lorena and Adam were nearby, finishing a run. Screams echoed as the drone hovered low, firing warning shots into walls. Sparks and smoke burst everywhere. Soldiers ducked. Engineers fled. A young alien boy tripped and fell right in the drone's path. Lorena didn't think. She ran, not limped. Ran. The legs responded to her thoughts instantly. Sand flew under her feet as she pushed herself forward faster than ever. The drone turned, targeting her with a red beam. Adam shouted, "Lorena, no!" She kept going. 10 meters. 5. 1. She slid under the drone and kicked straight up with both feet. A loud crack echoed through the air. The drone spun in the air, then fell hard into the sand, smoking and disabled. Everyone stared in silence. The boy blinked at her. "You saved me," he whispered. Lorena turned, breathing hard, and looked. At the stunned soldiers, her voice was calm. "I didn't just learn to walk." She looked down at her legs. "These are made for more." That night, the council called a special meeting. The alien High Council, gray-skinned, sharp-eyed, proud, sat in their chamber, watching a video replay of the scene. "Unlicensed tech," one of them said. "Human-made, not approved. Unnatural movement, dangerous." "Impressive," said one voice. It was General Varric, her father. They turned to him. "Is this your daughter's doing?" one asked. Varric did not answer at first. Then he said, "No, this is her doing, not mine, not yours, not the humans alone. Hers." He stood. She was left in a chair for 10 years. We gave her sympathy, but never a solution. The human did what we never even tried. Meanwhile, back at the hangar, Adam was fixing a faulty joint in her knee connector. Lorena sat quietly beside him. "Are you scared of what they'll say?" she asked. "Always," he said. "But I don't care anymore." She smiled. I think I want to help others too, she whispered. Adam looked up. Others? There are many like me, she said. Aliens in chairs, or on crutches, or, worse. No one sees them, but I do. She stood. I want to give them hope, the kind you gave me. Adam nodded slowly, pride in his eyes. Then let's build them all a way to stand. Walk, run. Fly Lorena stood at the cliff's edge, staring into the glowing canyon below. A month had passed since her first steps. Now, she could run faster than most trained soldiers on Velmoris. But Adam wanted to test something new today. This place is called Wind Cut Ridge, he said. The air pressure here helps us test gravity resistance. She looked down. The canyon was deep and filled with mist. Flying creatures circled far below, their wings glowing blue. Adam held up a small pack. You ready to try flying? Lorena laughed nervously. I just learned to walk. Now you want me to fly? I didn't build those legs for walking only, he said. They have thruster ports in the heels. You're joking. I'm not, Adam grinned. Time to rise higher than they ever imagined. He showed her how to balance mid-air using motion sensors in her spine and gyros in the knees. She watched carefully, memorizing everything. Finally, she stepped back, took a breath, and jumped. For a second, there was silence. Then, vroom. Her feet glowed and she lifted off the ground. Clumsy at first, but airborne, she hovered, gasping. The wind pulled at her hair. Adam, I'm flying, she laughed out loud. A deep, real laugh. Her arms stretched wide. Adam cheered below. Don't stop now! Lorena soared higher. She swooped over rocks and dipped into low clouds. It was like dancing in the sky. For 10 years she had been trapped. And now, she flew. Later that day she landed on the training field where soldiers and officers had gathered. She wasn't just a legend now, she was a demonstration. The officers had doubts about Adam's tech, so she had come to prove it herself. You may begin, said a cold female officer. Lorena started by running full speed, through the obstacle course, walls, lasers, fire traps. She cleared them all with ease. Then came the final test, a moving target challenge. Soldiers took 12 seconds on average. Lorena finished in 6. The crowd stared. One alien whispered, "She's not just walking. She's outperforming trained guards." Adam stood proudly at the edge of the field, arms crossed. Then something unexpected happened. The Alien Council's head scientist walked forward. "We want your leg design," she said flatly. Lorena narrowed, her eyes. "Why now?" "Because others like you are asking for help. You've started something we didn't prepare for. You didn't care before. We do now." Lorena didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked to the side, where 3 disabled alien children sat watching, eyes wide, bodies trembling. "I won't sell it," she said finally, "but I'll share it, freely." The scientist frowned. "That's not our way." "Then maybe your way needs to change." But peace didn't last long. That night, the outpost was attacked. A pirate faction from the Outer Rim had learned about the human-designed tech. They believed it could be turned into powerful military gear. They wanted Lorena alive. Explosions rocked the facility. Sirens blared. Aliens ran in panic. Lorena and Adam were near the hangar when the first bomb fell. Adam grabbed her arm. "You need to hide." She pulled away. "No, I'm not hiding anymore." Pirates burst into the hangar, dressed in black armor, firing shock rounds. One aimed at Adam. Lorena jumped forward, taking the hit. She crashed into the wall, sparks flying from her legs. Adam ran to her. "Are you okay?" She coughed. "They broke the outer layer, but the core's still strong." More pirates closed in. Then, something incredible happened. Lorena ran straight at them, dodging blasts, sliding under crates, kicking weapons out of hands. She didn't just fight, she flew. She flipped over one pirate, used her leg thruster mid-air, and knocked 3 others off their feet in a single blast. The remaining pirates backed away. They hadn't expected this. Girl in a chair? No, this was a warrior with wings. Later, after the pirates were captured, the alien general called for silence. I once believed she was broken, he said to the crowd. He stepped forward. Her father. I never said it out loud, but I was ashamed. I let others speak for her. He looked at Lorena. But today, she saved us. Not just with strength, but with hope. He dropped to one knee. For 10 years, I failed to see her. Lorena stood tall beside him, her thrusters still warm. I see myself now, she said. They tried to take her legs. The sun had barely risen over the Velmorian outpost when the guards arrived at Adam's quarters. They wore black armor, Council Enforcement Division, silent, cold. Human engineer Adam Voss, the lead said. You are under arrest for unauthorized biomechanical weapon creation. Adam stood, confused. Weapon? I made legs for a girl who couldn't walk. Illegal tech, the officer replied. Made without council approval. Come peacefully. Lorena watched from the doorway, frozen. No, she said, he helped me walk, helped me live. The guards didn't listen. They dragged Adam through the dust as Lorena ran after them, her robotic legs humming with each step. He didn't resist. But he looked back at her and whispered, Don't let them stop you. Adam was locked in the outpost prison. Lorena tried to speak to the High Council, but they denied her. You are not a citizen of authority, they said. Your legs are illegal. The project must be dismantled. She stared at them, voice shaking. You let me rot in a chair for 10 years. Now I can walk and you want to take it away? An old council member said, You inspire rebellion. You broke control. That's more dangerous than any weapon. Lorena's fists clenched. Then I'll inspire more. Later that night, she sat outside Adam's cell window. He was tired but not broken. You're going to be sentenced, she whispered. Maybe exiled. Adam gave a tired smile. I've been alone most of my life. Exile doesn't scare me. I do, she said softly. What? I scare them, because I'm not broken anymore. I stand. That threatens everything they built. She looked down at her legs. I can't let this end here. The next day, the council made an announcement. All citizens must report any use of foreign tech. Anyone using the illegal leg model will be arrested. The designs will be destroyed. The human will be transported to Earth and barred from returning. Panic spread. But something happened the council didn't expect. People stood up. One by one. Dozens of aliens, young, old, poor, came forward wearing their own versions of Lorena's legs. Some were made of junk. Some used stolen parts. Some worked poorly. But all of them had been built from her design. They marched through the streets. Toward the council hall in silence, Lorena led them. Her voice rang through the air. 10 years ago I was left behind. I was told I had no place. That I had no future. She walked up the council stairs slowly. But now, I walk not just for me, but for everyone they tried to keep on the ground. The crowd roared. Inside, the council was furious. She's created a movement, one hissed. This is a revolt. No, said General Varick, her father, who now stood beside her. This is evolution. They had no choice. The council agreed to meet with her in private. Lorena stood alone in a long marble room. The 7 counselors sat like statues. The oldest one spoke. We will allow the human to stay. We will allow the tech under one condition. She narrowed her eyes. Which is? You give us control. Your designs, your power, your name. She laughed bitterly. You didn't want me for 10 years. Now you want to own me? If you don't, we'll shut it all down, the counselor said. You'll lose everything. Lorena turned and walked out without a word. That night, she broadcast a message across the galaxy. A live feed. Her face filled the screens of 10 worlds. I was paralyzed once. Now I walk. Not because of rules, not because of approval. but because someone believed in me. Her eyes burned with fire. They tried to take my legs. Now I'm building wings. For everyone. Across the stars, thousands of disabled aliens watched in silence, and then they stood. War at her door. Stars over Velmoris turned red, not from sunset, but from ships, enemy ships. Dark, jagged, silent vessels appeared in orbit, blocking light, jamming signals, and sending one clear message: surrender the girl, or be destroyed. Lorena stood on the rooftop of the engineering tower watching the skies burn. Behind her, the city panicked. Sirens screamed. Families ran. The council froze in fear. Only Lorena stood still. She whispered, "They've come for the tech." Adam stepped beside her, tightening a makeshift armor vest. "They think if they take you, they take the future." She looked at him, her legs glowing faintly. "Then we don't let them." The pirate faction was called the Scorch. They were known for stealing rare technology and selling it across black markets. But this time, it wasn't just about money. They believed Lorena's legs were a secret military weapon that could control minds, lift armies, and destroy planets. Rumors had turned her legend into a target. The first attack hit the edge of the city. Explosions turned towers into rubble. Dust clouded the air. Adam and Lorena rushed to the eastern gate where refugees tried to flee. Her legs kicked open jammed doors. She carried wounded civilians to safety. She blasted debris using her foot thrusters. "She's faster than a dropship," one soldier gasped. But then came the next wave. Scorch ground troops. Armored, armed, ruthless. Their leader, a massive, alien cyborg named Koran, landed from orbit with a crash. His voice echoed through the burning streets. "Give me the girl with the legs, or I take everything." Lorena stepped into the open square. People screamed. Adam yelled, "No," but she raised a hand. "I'm right here." Koran laughed. "You? You're just a walking science experiment." She said nothing. He fired a plasma bolt. Lorena jumped, twisting midair, flipping over the shockwave. She landed with perfect balance and charged. Her thrusters lit up. Her knee armor flared. She punched Koran's faceplate with such force, it cracked. Koran roared and slammed her into a wall. She coughed blood, wiped her mouth, and stood again. "Still think I'm just an experiment?" She spat. Meanwhile, Adam hacked into the power grid. He rerouted energy to Lorena's backup core, overloading it slightly to give her a short burst of speed. "Now, Lorena," he shouted through the comms. She blinked blue. Then, she vanished in a flash of light. Koran never saw it coming. She zoomed forward, slid under his legs, then leapt up with a spinning kick that knocked him off his feet. The people watching from rooftops cheered. But the battle was far from over. The Scorch launched plasma grenades into the council tower. The building collapsed. Lorena rushed in, rescuing a crying alien child under a beam, ignoring the flames that scorched her back. Smoke covered her face, but she didn't stop. Then suddenly, her legs shut down. Too much heat, too much damage. She fell, breathing hard. The child clung to her. Outside, soldiers called her name. "She's down!" Adam was already running. Come on, stay! Alive!" He reached her, eyes wild. "Can you hear me?" he said. She coughed. "They're overheating, too much damage." Adam opened the panel on her thigh and started rewiring manually, fingers burning. "You don't get to stop now," he whispered. A Scorch drone flew overhead. It targeted them both. Beep, beep, locked. Adam shielded her with his body. But before it could fire, a bolt of purple light hit it from the sky. Everyone turned. Lyrena's father, General Varric, landed in full battle armor holding a plasma cannon. "Stay away from my daughter," he growled. He and the other troops from the outer colonies had finally arrived, following her broadcast from Part 5. The battle turned. Hours later, the smoke cleared. The Scorch was gone. The people were alive. But Lorena sat in silence, her legs disconnected, lying beside her on the ground. Adam crouched beside her. "We can fix them. Together." She nodded slowly. But then she looked up at the stars. They'll keep coming. Adam asked. Then what do we do? She whispered. We prepare the galaxy. Not just to fight, but to stand. A new beginning 1 year later. A golden city now stood where the old Velmorian outpost used to be. The scars of war were gone, replaced by shining towers, gardens in the sky, and streets filled with music and laughter. At the heart of it stood a large building made of silver and light. Above the entrance, bold letters glowed in many alien languages. The House of Rising Steps. It was the galaxy's first free school for the disabled, a place where no one was seen as weak, where no child was left in a chair unless they wanted to be, where limbs were not just repaired, but rebuilt with pride, and it all started with her. Inside, children of all species tried on new limbs, legs that ran faster than wind, arms that lifted more than any soldier, eyes that could see heat, sound, and light. Each design had one thing in common. They were based on the original model, the one Lorena wore during the war. On a balcony overlooking the training field, Lorena stood quietly, now walking with upgraded legs built in gold titanium alloy. She wore a simple black coat, wind brushing her white hair. Adam stood beside her, arms crossed, wearing a dusty jacket like always. So, he said, how does it feel? She looked down at the dozens of children running and laughing on robotic legs, many of them wearing her signature model. It feels like I've finally woken up, she said. Adam smiled. You woke up the whole galaxy. Suddenly, a voice echoed from behind them. General Varric stepped forward, holding a datapad. His uniform had changed, now lighter, less armored, more open. They want to build another school, he said. On the edge of the frontier, a place with no roads, no doctors, no power. Lorena raised an eyebrow. Why there? He looked at her. Because the children there are still crawling. She turned to Adam. He grinned. Road trip? Later, that day, a massive ceremony took place in the center plaza. Thousands gathered. Diplomats, war veterans, engineers, and everyday people. Drones flew overhead, recording everything for millions watching across planets. The council, once her enemy, now stood proudly beside her. A statue was revealed. It showed a girl standing, not in armor, not holding a weapon, but reaching down to lift another girl from a chair. The plaque read, she didn't just walk, she lifted others. Tears filled many eyes. But Lorena stepped forward and said, this statue isn't mine. It's yours. It's for every person who was told they'd never rise. Every soul left behind. Every voice ignored. She paused, breathing deep. I was broken. Not because of my legs, but because I believed the world when it told me I was nothing. Now her voice grew louder. But someone, a human, looked me in the eyes, and he didn't see weakness, he saw fire. He gave me metal legs, yes, but more than that, he gave me back my choice. Adam looked down, pretending not to be emotional, but Lorena elbowed him gently. Don't pretend, you soft-hearted engineer. The crowd laughed warmly. That night, as stars filled the sky, Lorena sat alone on the rooftop of the academy. One child climbed up and sat beside her. Are you really the first girl who flew? Lorena smiled. I didn't fly first. I just refused to stay on the ground. The child looked at her with wide, shining eyes. Do you think I can too? Lorena gently held the child's hand and said, not just fly. One day, you'll build wings better than mine. As the twin moons of Velmoris rose high above, the camera slowly zoomed out, across cities and colonies, across refugee stations, and battle-scarred moons. Everywhere children stood. They wore prosthetics, some made of steel, some of plastic, some of light. All of them walked. All of them ran. And somewhere in every step they took was a piece of her legacy.